and they're still going. All of us
still holding on.
Still holding on. So, briefly, Spike, what does this show mean to you in your real life? Like, what do you always find that this affects you in a real life manner when we talk about The Sopranos legacy and the impact it has on you?
Quotes first and foremost. I know we quote The Wire a lot on here, but this one as well. And this show is so good. So many people watch it. It can be an icebreaker. Like, people be like, you watch The Sopranos. I know I was just in the office the other day, and we randomly were talking about the Pie My episode. Me and a couple guys from the office never had discussed The Sopranos with him. He was talking about the guy reference, because we were talking. It was something about lunch, and the guy, when Tony put his hand out and Ralphie hit him, and then he looked and he kept hitting him like, and Tony was like, okay, that feel like enough. We were just laughing about that randomly in the parking lot at work. So it's just things like that with this show is the reason that it's so great. Everybody can damn near, if not relate to it, recall certain things or episodes and how it made them feel, if it was funny, if it was sad, if they were perplexed by it, what did you think about it? So in my everyday life, it's a conversation starter, as well as something, again, that we can do here on a weekly basis that I love to talk about with two guys that I enjoy being in the presence of.
Wow, that's heat right there. That is heat.
Right.
He got it. That's
a great
went
first, man. Damn.
You got the second verse now, bro.
Listen. I'll be 37 years old this month, and there's a handful of shows that are just timeless, right? That I've had the pleasure. I've watched a lot of television in my years. When I'm talking about prestige, timeless, classic TV, there's only a handful of shows that go in there. We talk about The Wire. Obviously, The Sopranos is in there. You've got Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, shows of that nature, of that status. And I'm sure there's some that other people love that I'm not mentioning, but you get what I'm saying. Sopranos stands out because it's one of the few shows. Some of those shows aren't necessarily the best rewatches. They're great first watches when you don't know the twists and the turns and the plots. Sopranos, you can watch 365 days a year, 366 in 2024 since we got a leap year. It genuinely feels like I moved away from home and I'm back home for a break and I ran into the fellas. That's what Sopranos feels like to me. The quotes, like you say, Spike, but these are genuine characters, and I want to give credit to everybody involved with the show for making these characters real people. Not just Paulie Walnuts, the guy on Sopranos, but that's Paulie Walnuts. Like, I know him. I feel like I want to catch up. Even though if he's told the same story over and over, I can watch a Pine Barrens and hear that story again. Like, I enjoy that shit. So it's hard to do what they did, and they changed television, man. They changed television, legitimately. Like, if you go back retroactively to 2000, 2001, they had niggas shook with what they were doing from a television aspect, man. And a lot of the shows that I mentioned afterwards, we don't get if The Sopranos don't lead the way. So salute to everybody, man. 25 years is an incredible accomplishment. 50 years, when they reach that milestone, we're still going to be talking about it. It's 75, 100. It's just that type of show.
Y'all both just briefly, y'all killed that. 25 years later, man, this is the first show I ever watched that I felt like I needed to run the series back immediately. When I had finished the show and it cut to black, I since I was such a late bloomer, I thought something was wrong like everybody else. And I realized, oh, that's the end. And I went for a few days, and I was acting weird around the house. I was in it with my wife, but I was like, dang, man, I feel like I'm missing something. Like, I was like, man, maybe I'll go back and watch it. And then I was like fighting with myself, like, nigga, you're not about to go back, and you don't ever just go back and watch a whole series. It's like my sister will watch the same movie back to back in the same day, and I look at her like, you're crazy. What is wrong with you? And so when I felt it was probably maybe a week later, I was like, damn, I'm going back in. and I started it over again. Then I started listening to podcasts with it, and no show has ever done. I've never ran a whole series back like that ever. Sopranos is the only one that I felt the need to do that. What it means to me in my real life, it's just one of them things where it's so relatable because all of these people are flawed. We get to actually see them operate in this world, and it helps us in some ways feel better about ourselves, but also just to understand how to navigate sometimes being flawed. And sometimes it's not always an answer. It's just a comfort in knowing we're not alone. And Sopranos serves that well. We went to the Chinese restaurant. I was eating noodles, and I was reenacting the scene with Jackie Jr. with my wife. I was like, I was banging just now before we started, banging on the plate, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna say some things you're not gonna like. Hey, sit down. I know what you're thinking. I clipped your uncle, but I didn't. Like, she said it like, bro, what are you talking about? I'm like, just let me finish the scene. So
that is hilarious.
Shouts out, seriously.
That's
though.
comedy, man. I can see you doing this shit.
I would have loved to have seen your wife's face.
Yeah, she was like, boy, like, it's just like, let me finish.
Did she get the reference? Did she get the reference?
She knew. I the midway I told her it's the Sopranos thing. I was like, let me finish the scene. And so
glad that you had to ask her to let you finish, let me know everything. She was probably like, man, if you don't shut your ass up,
nigga,
bro.
You don't come on, order this food,
bro. Yeah, please go up and get you another plate. But we are back, man. So shouts out to.
I'm sorry, man. My bad.